Welcome again. For the next 10 minutes, I will talk about pharmacists' identification of counterfeit medicines and stakeholders' partnership in Egypt. Let's start with a short background. The World Health Organization in 1992 defined counterfeit medicine as medicine which is deliberately and fraudulently mislabeled with respect to identity and or source. According to this definition, counterfeiting can apply to both branded or generic products, and counterfeit products may include products with the correct or wrong ingredients, without or with insufficient active ingredients, or with fake packaging. We should know also that counterfeit medicine is a worldwide threat. As shown in the figure, there are many reports on the situation of counterfeit medicines in different regions of include North America, Europe, the Middle East, and Southeast Asia. According to the WHO definition, counterfeit medicines may cause therapeutic failure, drug resistance, adverse drug interaction, and possible death. Counterfeit medicines affect the patient, the drug industry, the healthcare system, and health financing agencies. Let's start our topic. The aim of the study was to assess the community pharmacists' awareness of identification methods and stakeholders' partnership and in combating efforts. The methodology, it was a cross-sectional study conducted among 175 community pharmacies in Alexandria using a clustered stratified random sampling technique with a validated semi-structured interviewing questionnaire. After a pilot study, the data was analyzed using SPSS 60. Results and discussion include two main parts: demographic data and professional data. In the demographic data, the mean pharmacist age was 36, with a dominance of male and female male and pharmacist managers. The professional data divided into three sections: perception of pharmacists about counterfeit medicines, identification of counterfeit medicines, and the stakeholders' partnership and role. Regarding perception, the majority of pharmacists believe that counterfeit medicines is restricted to developing countries, but counterfeit medicines do exist in developed countries, though at a much lower level because of tighter regulatory control and heavier penalties. The majority of pharmacists perceived counterfeit medicines as inactive or harmful, but they were all unaware of the World Health Organization definition, and there was a clear inability to differentiate between counterfeit medicines and substandard products. The most counterfeited drug classes in Egypt are erectile dysfunction products, and it's interesting that these products are amongst the most counterfeited drug classes in either developed or developing countries. Our second section about identification, only 21.7% of pharmacists think they can differentiate or visually identify an authentic medicine and differentiate it from its counterfeit counterpart, and the majority of this percent rely on the packaging characteristics. But unfortunately, pharmacists were not aware of the authentication technologies. They only know about the digital watermarks. Before moving to the last section, I want to highlight that pharmacists were not aware of the identification methods of counterfeit medicines, and as I previously mentioned that counterfeit medicines is a worldwide health threat. So please, if you agree that counterfeit medicines or pharmacists should be educated about the identification methods of counterfeit medicines, could you please use your agenda and mark yes? Okay? The last section, the stakeholders, we considered three key stakeholders: the Egyptian Drug Authority and its Pharmaceutical Inspection Department, the drug manufacturer, and the Egyptian consumers. In this point, I will talk about stakeholders' partnership and stakeholders' combating efforts. Stakeholders interaction: pharmacists know about counterfeit medicines issues through the regular visits of the pharmaceutical inspectors, and it was to mention that pharmacists justified their poor interaction with the Egyptian Drug Authority and the pharmaceutical inspection by the limited financial resources, which don't allow large number of employed pharmaceutical inspectors, implementation of pharmaceutical inspectors training courses, transportation to remote areas, and poor functioning reporting system. For the second stakeholders, drug manufacturers, there was a low tendency of pharmacists to report a counterfeit medicine encounter to drug manufacturers, and only 3% rely on drug manufacturers' alert to know about counterfeit medicine detection. For the customers, the Egyptian customers get worried when there are changes in the package characteristics and the organoleptic properties. Regarding the efforts of stakeholders, in general, pharmacists perceived stakeholders' efforts in combating counterfeit medicines as inactive or poor, as shown in the purple and green color. And the same evaluation was for the pharmacy education system in Egypt and syndicate of pharmacists. There is one last more interesting results, which is that pharmacists were self-motivated to participate in educational activities. Of course, this is an indicator of a positive attitude for combating counterfeit medicines. At the end of this presentation, and as we have demonstrated today, the current pharmacy system in Egypt and stakeholders' partnership are not totally supportive of combating counterfeit medicines to safeguard patient safety, which seriously affects the perception and identification ability of pharmacists to identify counterfeit medicines. That's why there is an urgent need to establish a holistic national strategy based on some items: high-level task force to combat counterfeit medicines, situational analysis of counterfeit medicines, stringent specific legislations, empowered health regulatory authority, development of pharmacists, and finally, strengthened stakeholders' partnership and international collaboration. Thank you very much.
Are there any questions from